We are grateful that you took this time to listen to our presentation and also to go through our website. It brings us great joy that people like you or myself actually want to help Acholi Resilience. My name is Moses Otto and I am the director of Acholi Resilience. Now I'm going to talk through our recent trip to Uganda. In my recent trip to Uganda, I went with two of my children.
Hello, my name is Salita and I had a great trip to Uganda.
Hello, my name is Phineas and I had an amazing trip to Uganda.
Our recent trip to Uganda was predominantly hands-on. So Phineas was my video man and Talita my camera girl. They really did a great job considering that they're children. Phineas being 9 years old and Talita 8-year-old. They also had a wonderful experience coming from Australia. So these are Australian kids. I'm an African and Australian. So taking two children on a trip like this was quite exciting, but they've also learned a lot about Africa and they now can compare the life in Australia and the life in Africa. There is the issues of nodding syndrome in Uganda, which you're probably not aware of. There is also the issues of orphans left to look after themselves. There's the issues of poor educations and poor healthcare system in Uganda, which we as Acholi Resilience, we are advocating and lobbying, and we are trying to support all these vulnerable children and people in Northern Uganda. So in our recent trip to Uganda, myself being an occupational therapist, I know very little about nodding syndrome and how to care about it, because nodding syndrome is still a syndrome. It's not well researched. But the little understanding I have from the World Health Organization is that it's a neurological condition which is degenerative in nature. And in my work as an occupational therapist, I do understand the impact of neurological conditions or even degenerative conditions such as dementia, also issues around neurological conditions such as epilepsy. I wanted to extend my practical skill in Northern Uganda, and that is the reason why I took on this trip. The reason why we are in Northern Uganda, or why we're based in Northern Uganda and also here, predominantly, well, look, I'm an Acholi myself, and I am a resident of Australia. I'm a citizen in Australia, but I know my people, Acholi people, are not doing well. So one of the reasons why we formed the charity is the issues of nodding syndrome. There's also lots of orphans. There's also the issues of poor educations and poor healthcare system in Uganda. This is a ward in Kitgum, and there's no doctor. We decided to take this upon us and help the victim of nodding syndrome. And by me talking to you now, you're also aware, you can also help these kids of nodding syndrome. So we got few projects that we have in Northern Uganda. We have, so we got the program of nodding syndrome. We've also got a school.
Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon,
Mr. No, it's Mr. Phineas.
So this is Lapana Primary School, class 4 pupil or primary 4. And we are very, very excited to have all of us in class today, and we got all our books out. We just been learning science.
Yeah.
In a primary school where we've taken computers there. Computers was donated by the second-hand schools computers here in Tasmania, which were really, really grateful. Now, you'll be so excited to see kids writing for the first time on a computer. When we arrived with the computers, the whole community came there just to touch the computer, you know, just to feel the computer. It's amazing, you know, all of them, they really got so excited. We finally have computer in school. I mean, they've got no idea how the computer works, for example. They don't even know that the computer need to be powered. Installing solar power. These are how we install solar power in Kitgum or in Africa. First child using computer in Lapana Primary School, using Word document to type his name. And the teachers are now learning how to use the computer. So next term, which is the beginning of next year, we're hoping that kids are going to start to learn the computers. So they will have sessions where in the afternoon they'll go and learn computer in the computer lab, in the computer labs. So thank you so much to the Tasmanian government or the schools for giving their second-hand computer. That was a fantastic thing. And thank you to Jane. Also thank you to Big J at the 106.5 for, you know, asking the community to get those computers. We want to improve that school. We've already got teachers that we have employed at school. We've started feeding program in that school. Nodding syndrome, we've got few projects that we are running. Nodding syndrome projects include providing 3 cows for the families still able to actually use the plow and the cow.
I got a level picture.
The cows are going to be released now. Look how they come out. Did you have to do it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and a cow costs $400. If you're willing to get that one, that's excellent. A plow, $200. You can support that one. We have given the cows to some of the most sort of vulnerable families, and they feel like, you know, their life from now on is going to be better off compared with what had been the past. She's a blind woman, and that's a child with Northern syndrome, by the way. So this girl has to be tied. If it's not tied, she's going to run and wander around. You can see there's a lot of burns on her. For 4 bag? Okay. For picker. He's 21, 17.
So this one is
Hey,
Wundo chari. Nene obera ta kuja. Fa nyang jama time kan. Chung kenyo. Aya. So
Lamego. Inyanga. No ko. So he's under research.
yes.
So he's a guinea pig. He's in under research at the moment. This fella. Oh, the father is blind. Oh, he's a widower. Oh, man. This man is looking, he's a widower and is looking after a Northern syndrome child. So, big, huh? Really? She's 16 years old. Single-headed families. You know, you find there's a HIV probably affected woman with 5 children, and 2 of her children got Northern syndrome. And the best way for supporting this woman is if she's got a cow or 2 oxen and an ox, she's able to still go and dig. And whether she has only 1 garden or 2 gardens, that's enough to sustain them for the year. This is a choir of Christians' home. And she's got these 2 kids with Northern syndrome. So this lady lost her husband. She's a widow, lost her husband during the war. The rebel killed the husband. Okay, let me come here and move on. Yeah. Man, go go again. You pay me go again. Now this is Africa for you. She's already 20 years old. She looks like a 12 or 13 years old girl. She also has HIV. In addition to looking after me, she's a leader. She's lost one child and lost in the bush. Okay. And when these kids with Northern syndrome have enough food, they actually thrive. I've got good example of kids picking cotton because they have been looked well. Some of the kids that we have looked after for a long time, they are picking cotton in the farm. They may not strive in school so well, they can work in the farm. This fella has Northern syndrome, but he's a very productive young man now. The same with this young man here. He's also got he's all on medication, but look, he's picking up cotton. Very productive. Isn't that good? Now, he's still in primary 5.
Equivalent to primary grade 5.
He's now 15. So he's a beneficiary of Acholi Resilience. They got the cows. So these guys are all happy. So Northern syndrome can be beaten. Good medication, good food, and they can be productive. Come on, a family, we've given them 3 oxen and a plow. Others, we put them into groups of 5. They can dig together. And that worked really well in different scenarios for some of the families. The rescue projects is pretty much where our healthcare workers, which we have 2 of them. We've got Okema and we've got Moses Otto. So these are in 2 different counties, which is really affected within a Kitgum district. So they go in the communities and find the kids who are locked up and they rescue them. Some parents, because they're not able and they know that Northern syndrome, eventually the kids are going to die. So what they do, they have resorted in keeping the kids in the mud house and close the door and starve those kids to death. So the rescue perfect example is when we went into this house where the kids were locked. 5 kids were locked up in this mud hut and locked up in there with the intention of them just being dead. And the father left home and went. And so we came and found those kids there just left to die. So we rescued them, we took them to the hospital, they were put on drips, we fed them. After 3 weeks, one of the girls was looking fantastic, one of the girls that I didn't think she was going to survive.
It is very sad to see the Northern syndrome kids in Uganda as how they are left to die and they don't have any real carers and stuff like that. Experience going into a house with a Northern syndrome child and she was lying on the ground and it was very sad to see how she wasn't even cared for.
It's going to show you.
So this is the situation where how these kids are living. Look at it. I'm not even sure where these kids are like. Later, I see you move on. This is a situation where the kids are looked at. Really, even Abe, tira mi be chamo yere.
Chamo.
Abe ti magadi. You see in the head burn. See, he's actually 20 years old. She burned her head. This is a 20-year-old person. Now there are 5 kids. Another one there, another one there. Finish the point, there's another one here. And this one as well. There's
only one is missing now.
But there's only one missing.
Thank you.
Why am I telling you to choose them? Anya, I'm actually when you come. Abe, come on, Abe. So you can smell poo. feces all over the place in this place, and it stinks. I mean, really, human can be looked after. So, Susan, I'm here. Tell it Acholi. I'm here with one of your children here in Tumangu. He's really not looked after. Look at this place. Let us show. Really, this is where this kid lives. It's unbearable. Down on the floor, please. See, the head is burned off. This is a 20-year-old child. Can you take the photos now? So this child, the issue is this way. This child is actually orphan. The mother passed away, and there's not really any proper care for her. And straight away to the hospital. At least.
Tell her to be more better
Chimu
than
chana
in
wati.
the hospital.
And there's nobody to cook. If you take this, I don't know what to do. We're stuck. This is a sort of emergency situation. Now we've got lots of kids like this in the community. I need carers really in the village. Anyway. Our patient today on the ambulance, and we're going to check out his history. Here, come on in. So she straight away they got her and they put her on the drip. Umar mai tidi? Doctor don't know. Doctor?
That is why we care.
Okay.
Now that you know about nodding syndrome, please donate and help the program keep on going.
And the others I know, as I said earlier, nodding syndrome causes these guys to, lose their consciousness. Or they wander off and they drown. Life, we just found these kids on the side of the road. Nobody knows where he comes from, and he's completely gone with nodding syndrome. Now, if there was fire here, he would be dead. All these bystanders don't even know what happened. One that burned, she just saw fire and she just went all her face and she was just burning in there, and now she's going through whatever the burn unit. I mean, the burn unit is not really equipped like the Western world, but she's going to be looked after. She will have a lot of marks and the scars, but at least she was rescued and she did not die.
Moses, this is another victim that has been brought today from the same place to Mangu. She is badly burnt the way you're seeing. And the mother is taking care of.
Another thing that we are really doing is repairing boreholes. So boreholes, if you are a keen TV watcher like me, every time you turn your TV on, you see the World Vision's advocating that, donate. We got all these kids drinking dirty water. I have to tell you that the USAID, they have dug boreholes nearly everywhere in Northern Uganda. In Northern Uganda, you probably drive a kilometer or 5 kilometers or 3 kilometers, you find a borehole. But I have to tell you the sad news is that all these boreholes are all broken down. So all of them, they have gone back to drinking the dirty water. And you find kids with bilharzia, big tummy. Their tummy is full of parasites and all sort of sickness they carry. So we're repairing all those boreholes. These kids drink. Lutino, awake. Now they're all fighting over crumbling over water. They come to wash their plates after eating and drinking. This girl drinking. For clean water for the community. We have in the school, they have clean water now, and the surrounding villages there, they have clean water. And you can participate in doing this. To repair one of those boreholes, you just need to give us 2,000 or 3,000, depending on what the damage is with the boreholes. We'll repair them. And if you look at some of the videos, I was completely in action doing that, repairing work with the technicians. It doesn't take long, 2 to 3 hours. We have clean water for the community. So you can be involved in clean water projects. And our big plan now, moving on from here, is the rescue mission. Now, there was an NGO, which was an American NGO called Hope for Human. Hope for Human was really a spearhead of helping the kids with Northern syndrome, especially in the rescue project. They started that by building homes, the institutions that were actually opened even by the president himself. But some of them, they're not in operation because Hope for Human ran out of funds. So there's no money, so they closed down. Now, as a result, some of these kids now have gone home, and the parents are really starving them to death because parents are not able to feed the kids and look after the kids for a simple reason that Northern syndrome requires 24 hours care. So most families in Northern Uganda, they have at least 5 to 10 children. So if you have 1 or 2 kids with Northern syndrome, it is very, very difficult to manage the household. And most parents result in either tying the kids so they can do some work. Finish with me. No. So she's non-conversion. Latin. This is her first time to say hey, to talk to me. She doesn't talk, she doesn't communicate.
Did not sign
Much better. Yeah, way. It here. So this is a Chen Flavia. So she's 15 years old. Grandmother. So grandmother has come in. Grandmother has come in to help. So she just brought some firewood to help. So she can't really do any activity of daily living, as in she cannot look after herself, she cannot do her personal hygiene. She just requires 24 hours care. Now, if the girl poo, she actually eat all her poo out if there's nobody around. And this is really, really difficult in terms of managing. And she looks like she's wasted a lot. There's not much food around here. So she's not really taking medication. That's why she is the way she is. But thanks to the father and the grandmother for doing what they can do. The mother ran away because looking after the child became a bit difficult. So the rescue project is big. It requires lots of money, and that's why Hope for Human closed down. But they have a facility in a place called Tumangu in Kipkum. That facility can bring in most of the kids who are really, really badly affected, who require eye care needs. Now, so we are in Tumangu right now, and the center, as you can see, there's nothing in here.
Just an empty building.
That's the kitchen, is all breaking down. Oh, why the place not being used?
because we don't have food staff.
You don't have food?
And even there is no money to maintain this food center.
So where are the kids?
The kids are within the
They're going back to the community?
Yes. Ever since this building is built, no children have been kept here.
Really?
Surely. Even Susan even know about it.
So the facility is here?
Yes.
It's really nice facility.
Can I go check if the borehole works? So Phineas, seeing if the borehole is working.
It does.
And it does.
To get water.
So that's where people can get their water.
To run those centers, this is how much it needs. We need $10,000 a month if we have to provide all the specialized services. But if we are just going to meet the basic needs, we need $5,000 a month. Now to get that money is a lot of money. So if somebody has some money that they would like to use up, we have what we call a sustainable project, and we do farming. So with our farm, we can produce enough food that we can sell, and others can be used to supply our feeding program at the Lapana Primary School, or we can sell some of them to support our rescue program. So that's a big problem, and the big problem is always come because of money. So if we're able to sustain this project in Uganda ourselves, why not? So we got a big land that requires digging, and we need people who can really do some good farming so that we can sell this produce to support our projects. So one of the projects that I haven't talked about is a feeding program. So we are feeding 315 people. So when I say people, we got 300 kids, and then we've got 5 cooks, and we've got the teachers, with 10 teachers plus the cooks in this school, and 2 watchmen. So actually 317 people we're feeding in Lapana Primary School. And this food is costly. To run successfully the feeding program, we need $20,000 for the whole year.
The feeding program in Lapana Primary School in Northern Uganda is a great idea because all the starving and hungry children now have plenty to eat. They all run and race to be first at the kitchen to get their dish of food.
This truck has brought maize and beans for our feeding program. Our feeding program starts today. And it's also carrying ox plow. These hungry, starving kids are going to get this firewood for cooking. So kids are taking this away. Exciting. This is how we cook corn here. This is cooking for the school. Beans is ready to be served. Assistant principal.
Yeah.
John, in home today,
Very happy.
why are you happy?
You have brought for us food for school feeding program.
Are you happy for the school feeding program?
Yeah,
That's good.
thank you.
Why are you happy?
Because our children will have the opportunity now to concentrate in their classwork when they have eaten. In fact, they will not go hungry.
Okay, tell me more. Talk more about the feeding program. How is this feeding program going to benefit the school anyway?
The school feeding program will keep the children active in classes. And they will also prefer coming to school because they will have food in school.
So these kids won't even go home. It's lunchtime. They won't even go home. But there's no food for them either home or here.
So they will have food from school.
Yes. So they eat from school.
Good.
With our farming, we can produce our own maize and beans. That's the staple food in Northern Uganda. We got the means to dig them now, which is using our own cows to dig them, to dig in the farm. But, you know, if you have money that's sitting there and you're not sure what to do with, you can donate that money. We can buy a tractor. So to buy a tractor costs about 40,000, a very small one, but a good one, we need up to 80,000, and we'll buy a good tractor that can do some good digging or do good farming for us.
fence for our house. We have to do is just put the barbed wire on. It's pretty good. So there's the sticks around, just pop the barbed wire in and bed on. So yeah. This is
It's nearly finished. Look at this. Men working really hard. You know, not to mobile. Go and stand from that direction. Go stand from there. Stand from there. This is how we do fencing in this part of the world. It's all be fenced up, ready for the cow to come in here. I'll walk around and see it. Finally, the issue of nodding syndrome or the issues affecting people in Northern Uganda would have been sorted out by Ugandan government. But Ugandan government also rely on foreign aid for some of their projects. So that's why issues of nodding syndromes or orphans, for example, or poor educations and all this sort of stuff, they will suffer because Uganda is not able to sustain itself with its own economy. It relies heavily on foreign help.
Uganda cow.
Is Uganda cow?
The male ones.
The only males?
Yes.
These are only males?
Yes, you can see they have horns. Are you not seeing them?
Oh, so these are all...
So there is a lion.
Did you take a video? Take a camera.
Right there. And we're in the safari park. There's a lion.
Hold on. You take a video?
This was in the way.
Go back at the snake. You need to keep taking video. Be careful.
Don't go back. Yeah.
Yes.
Don't be bad. Can't direct it.
This is some elephant food.
James, did you see the size of the pool? We need the capital. We've got the manpower. We got land. So we just need the capital to get us the tools, like tractors, for example. We need tractors. We need more cows. Give us a hand. That would be excellent. I still need some builders to go and help at the school to build a few more classrooms. And I also need some more homes to house the high care need victim of nodding syndrome. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation, and thank you for going through our website. Thank you.